Can you guys check if we're streaming?
Not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
let's see. It's the usual delay that nobody really knows if we're live or not. So check it out. Is it working? Is it not working?
It's working, yeah.
Yeah, we're live?
13.
Yeah? You guys can see me, you guys can hear me? Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So, hello everyone who's watching this. It's good to meet again live here on YouTube. I want to turn this into an asking me anything session for anyone who wants to ask me anything, whether it's about trademarks, entrepreneurship, me, my travels that I'm going through right now, or really anything else, up to you. And while we're collecting questions that you can put in the chat, from the last live, I know I've mentioned the trademarking checklist that we put together. So I thought that it could be a good way for me to go over it live and just provide some additional comments. So that's what I'm going to do. And you can all download the checklist. It's free. And I'm just going to show you the link, and I'm going to walk through that. And as we have any questions, you don't really need to wait. Ask away, and I'll most often just stop and answer your question as we're talking live. If I know that the answer comes basically on the next page of the checklist, I'll say so, and we'll wait till we get there. But generally, just consider this a conversation rather than a lecture. All right. So with that said, let me switch to this one. Yeah. So here's the checklist that we put together that is designed to not make you into lawyers, to not make you into trademarking specialists, but that's designed to give you the framework that you need to have in order to understand how trademarking works, and that we feel is going to make it much easier for you to know whether or not you need a trademark, what you want to trademark, where you need to trademark, when you need to trademark, all that kind of stuff. So let's go through that. So, okay. First of all, there's a bunch of stuff that you can trademark, and we call it brand elements because if you look at this, most big companies, most successful companies have lots of trademarks, right? They don't just have one, and they have one brand usually, and multiple brand elements to that brand. So let's go through those brand elements first. So first is the brand names. In legal speak, it's called word marks. There's really four types of brand names out there. One is the business name, such as Google or Trademark Factory, or KISS as the band, right? You can also trademark personal names if you are a celebrity or a close to celebrity or wannabe celebrity, things like that. Like Dan Locke, my mentor, we trademarked his name in a bunch of countries, and Beyonce, obviously the musician. You can also trademark names of your products, and this comes to again, this is just a name. Doesn't mean the fancy way you are seen on the product itself. For example, sneakers, right? They have this very cool font that they use, but this is just about the name itself. So name of the product: iPhone, Civic for cars, right? Big Mac, and names of your services: iTunes, Prime Video, or Oscar. For the entertainment industry. So all of these are just names that everyone knows, and you can imagine how valuable those are. And really, this is where your quest for what should I be trademarking right now should start with. Because if you don't own the name, it's very, very difficult to build a strong brand around it. And usually, if you look at this and see, okay, I can't have my name because somebody else owns it, then your decision should be maybe I should go ahead and look for a different brand, because it's much more important to own a brand that's really yours, that nobody can do anything about, that nobody can take from you, than to coexist with the brand that you love with a million other business owners and hope that they will somehow allow you to build a strong brand around that. Actually, here's something I want to say to start this conversation. If you don't trademark your brand, I used to say, if you don't trademark your brand, you don't own your brand, and that's true. But I want to say something else. If you don't trademark your brand, it's not really a brand. It's just a name. It's just an image. It's just a phrase. It doesn't become a brand until you own it. And the only way to own your brand is by getting that trademarked, right? And when you start, nobody really cares about your brand, right? It's not that you can come up with a name that's going to wow everybody out there, and everyone's going to say that's the best brand in the world. The branding is not about that. In the beginning, your brand is not very valuable, and then as you build your business around that, your brand becomes more and more and more and more valuable, and that's what builds value. But it only builds value if this is something that's yours, right? And even though sometimes people say, well, there's this you can do to protect your brand, there's that you can do to protect your brand. None of it works. The only thing you can do to protect your brand really is to get that trademark. And that's what this live is about. That's what my company is about, Trademark Factory. So, all right, let's see if we have any questions so far. Cool. We have an early question from Otis Jackson. Is it possible to get your trademark approved without a lawyer at all? I heard USPTO does a lot of nitpicking when reviewing your application. Well, so there's a couple of things about USPTO. First of all, if you are not a U.S. resident or you're not a U.S. company, you cannot file a trademark in the U.S. without a U.S. licensed attorney representing you. That's the rule. Whether it's fair or not fair, whether it's protectionist or not protectionism, is a question for another day. But you must be U.S. resident to file U.S. trademarks without a U.S. licensed attorney. That's number one. If you are, technically you can file your trademark by yourself. Really, really bad idea though. Because what that means is that your chance of getting that trademark through has gone down from currently the average, and I'm going to show that in the checklist later today. It's around 50%, right? About 50% of trademark applications filed get approved by the Trademarks Office in the end of the day. With self-represented applicants, that goes to 19. That goes down to 19%. Simply because most self-represented applicants don't know how to deal with all the objections that the Trademarks Office is going to throw at you, right? And the 50% success rate that I mentioned counts self-represented people and everyone who files their trademarks through huge through huge law firms. It includes companies that have huge internal legal teams in-house. It includes pretty much every single trademark that's being filed. And if you care about your brand, and if you haven't personally filed a lot of trademarks that you really understand the process, if you're not planning to file hundreds of trademarks yourself, I would say it's really bad idea for you to try to do it on your own. I mean, as an exercise, if you like puzzles, right, and you just want an expensive way to prove something to yourself and to the world around something that's not that important to you, yeah, sure, by all means, you can file a trademark and, it might go through. If it's about the business that you're trying to build, if it's about a brand that you hope will mean something to people at the end of the day, I really wouldn't do it because it's a long process too. That's another thing we're going to talk about. Trademarking in the U.S. takes about 1.5 years now, right? So it's not that you file it, there's something wrong, you find out about it right away, you fix it right away, right? We entrepreneurs, we love speed, right? And it's about immediate gratification, right? We want to see the results right away. It's not how trademarks work. You file a trademark, and then you wait for months before anyone even talks to you. And then when they do, they get back to you and say, hey, there's something wrong. And you have several months to respond. You respond, and then there's another waiting period. So the whole thing can take a really, really long time. So again, as a puzzle, and someone who's like, I'm a big fan of puzzles and quests. I waste so much time on those. Kidding myself that really this develops my brain. But if you're a fan of doing that, then yeah, you can file your own trademark. But I really wouldn't recommend it to anyone who's serious about their brand. All right. Do we have more questions, or should we switch to the checklist? And I'm getting some help from my team in the background, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. Zeke, Andres, what's going on?
Yeah, if you check Telegram, some of the questions are there.
Yeah, okay. So you want me to go by Telegram? You're not going to put them on the screen?
I think Address is working on that.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so working moment, everyone. See, that's what lives are all about. Okay, so the second question we got is CFN came from nothing. If your trademark is live pending for registration, do we have to send desist to other companies? It's on a case-by-case basis. So technically, before your trademark registers, all you got is a pending trademark application. And there is a risk there that even if everything goes well and the trademarks office likes your application, they don't see any problem with your trademark application, they approve your application, what that's going to do is that's going to open what's called an opposition period, when anybody can raise their hand during 1 month in most countries. And they're going to say, dear Trademarks Office, please don't give this trademark to this applicant because this would negatively impact my rights. We call oppositions, we call them an atomic bomb that almost never goes off, because they're very rare, but when they do happen, it's a nightmare. It's a complete shit show. So because they're difficult, they're long, they're expensive, and so if you send your cease and desist letter before that opposition period has completed, in theory, you're inviting people to potentially oppose your trademark. In most cases, we wouldn't recommend doing that because, again, you're just making your own life much more difficult unless you are 100%, million% sure that your trademark application is so strong, your trademark is so unique. There's nobody out there who's got a pending trademark. There's nobody out there who's got a registered trademark similar, and there's nobody out there who might have been using the same brand before you filed your trademark application. Because in the U.S. especially, here's how this works. It's still honoring the rights of those who may have started using that brand before you file it, right? So if you file first and they don't notice and your trademark gets registered, you are considered the rightful owner of that trademark, of a valid trademark, and that you can enforce. And if somebody can prove, hey, we were there 5 years before these people registered their trademark, well, too bad for them, right? You will not be able to enforce your trademark against them, but you will own it for the entire country, except you will not be able to enforce against those people who were there first. But while your trademark is still pending, they can raise their hand during the opposition period and say, hey, we were there 5 years before, don't give them this trademark, and your trademark application will die. So it's a very iffy situation. So this is something that you should definitely discuss with a trademark attorney, whether or not it's a good idea to send that demand letter. And you have to be super truthful in terms of what those other people could dig as evidence if they were to oppose your trademark. Because even though your trademark application is on its way to registration, it's still vulnerable during the opposition period. Okay, so there's the answer to that. Here's the next question. New life, poetry, innovating, change around the world. Okay, how much is it to trademark your brand? Okay, so I'm assuming you're asking me what Trademark Factory charges, so I'm going to answer that. We've got several packages that really depend on how much risk from the process you want to offload to us. But most people do is they go with our all-inclusive package, which covers everything from start to finish. So we start with the comprehensive search to confirm that your brand is trademarkable, and if it's not, you can go back and request a full refund and end with that, or you can send us other variations to test and check, and we're going to do that all the way until you pick a brand that you love and that we tell you is trademarkable. Then the other thing it includes, of course, is we file your application. It's going to have an attorney of record, and then if the trademarks office sends any objections or let's call it office actions, something I was referring to in answering the first question about self-filing, right? So USPTO sends us something back, say, hey, we don't like your trademark application. We will be responding to those at no extra charge, no matter how many of them, no matter how complicated they are. We're going to have our attorneys do that for you. And then once the trademark is approved, once it's allowed, we're going to file evidence of use to get your trademark registration certificate and send it to you in a custom frame. So basically, you have everything, the entire process under one flat fee that you know upfront. The only thing that's not covered by the all-inclusive is the oppositions, right? They are about 1% risk of your trademark going through them. So we have a package that doesn't cover them, and we also have a package that does cover them. So, as I said, the most popular one is the one that doesn't cover them. It's $2,600 plus the government fees. And if you're wondering, like, why is it so much more than a lot of offers that you can see online for, you can trademark your brand for $50 or a couple of $100. It's because it's really comparing apples to oranges. What we offer with our flat fee is the is the what am I trying to say? Is the whole process, right, from start to finish. What they're offering is to give you software that will allow you to fill out a form, and they'll just file a trademark application on your behalf. You're not going to get an attorney of record. You'll be considered a self-filing applicant, self-represented applicant, and if if your trademark doesn't go through, then that's it, right? So we are a lot closer in this respect to huge law firms that specialize in intellectual property, that specialize in trademarks, and what makes us different from them is that, unlike law firms, we're not going to charge you by the hour. We're not going to find a million different ways to nickel and dime you. We'll give you the price that's going to be it. And we've had clients whose trademarks took us many, many years. I think our record is close to 7 years. If I'm not mistaken, either 5 or 7. It's like both numbers are pretty crazy. And we lost a lot of money on them because there was a lot of back and forth between us and the trademarks office, and clients paid us $2,600, and that was it, right? It was our problem, not theirs, and we got their trademarks registered nonetheless. So that's about pricing. You can actually go to trademarkfactory.com. We don't make a secret out of our packages, because that's one of our selling points, is that we are all about transparency. We're all about treating you, the brand owner, as someone who can make informed decisions and who should be making informed decisions. That's why we're doing all the education about the trademarking process. That's why we're doing all the education about the pricing. So all the packages are there. So you can go to trademarkfactory.com and there's YS menu, and there's pricing and packages. Just go and study and see which package is the right one for you. Okay. Next question, Brandon Hall. Should or can you get trademark before an LLC? Great question. Completely. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. You get an LLC primarily for tax reasons, usually not even liability reasons, because again, this is not legal advice about which form of entity you should have, but usually when it comes to liability, you're probably looking more at corporation rather than LLC, but those are for tax liability reasons. Trademarks are for owning your brand. So if you have a brand, if you think, okay, I'm going to start a business, and if it picks up, I will need to shield myself from liability, and I'll be making so much money, I want to have a separate entity so that I can save on tax, then you'll probably be doing the LLC later. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to build your brand for a year before you set up that LLC unprotected. So in that case, you'd start with a trademark and then you'll do the LLC. If you are like, hey, I'm just going to do my LLC in 3 days, and then I'm going to do the trademark, that's fine too. The beauty with trademark applications is that you can assign your trademark application from you as an individual to your company, and it's a very simple thing, very simple process. Anyone can do it. We can obviously help you with that as well. It's like there's a nominal government fee for that, and that's it. And you don't even have to wait for the trademark to register. So you file your trademark as an individual, then you set up your LLC, and then you say to the trademarks office, you know what, I filed this trademark as Brandon Hall, and now I want to move this trademark. I want to assign this trademark to Rainbow and Lollipops LLC, and here we are. And so your trademark will be issued in the name of that new entity. All right, so that's that hopefully answers that question. Ian, hey, Harpoon Motorsports, can you get my trademark? in Finland, yeah. Look, it's funny because I think I texted you when you asked that as a comment. Yes, we can. What I don't understand is why you would want to file your trademark in a single country of the European Union when, for the exact same amount of money, you can file a trademark that's going to cover the entire 27 countries of the European Union, and it'll go through less scrutiny, it'll give you more protection, it'll be faster and easier. So short answer is yes, we can. Longer answer is yes, we can, and we probably can do better. So you would only go national trademarks inside the European Union if you know that, for example, in some other country, I don't know, Greece, someone else already has a trademark that's very close to yours, and they are likely to oppose your trademark. If that's not the case, just go for the entire, for the trademark that's going to cover the entire European Union, and yes, we can help you with that. All right. What we got next? Swagability. It's funny, we got a lot of questions today from, and so when we put the names, right? There's not names of individuals; they're brand names. It's pretty cool, which actually it goes to show how important brands are, right? Because you came up with that brand for a reason, right? It's not it. What boggles my mind always is. There's people who come up with a brand, right? They take the time to think of something, they come up with a brand, and they're like, well, I don't really care about the brand. Well, why'd you come up with it then? Right? So, all right, let me go to Swagability's question. Do you ever have contests where you give away 3 or 6 mark filing? If successful, is there a yearly maintenance fee in perpetuity? Okay, so let me start with the second one. There are no annual maintenance fees for trademarks, unlike with patents, which is a huge deal for patents, because patents cost a lot to file, cost a lot to register, and then you have to pay them an annual fee that makes them even more expensive. No such thing in trademarks. The only thing in the so normally for trademarks, all you have to do is renew your trademark every 10 years, right? Every 10 years, 10th anniversary, 20th anniversary, 30th anniversary, you have to renew your trademark just to show to the trademarks office is that you're still interested in maintaining that brand. The fee is a couple of $100, and you're going to get your trademark renewed for another 10 years. That's how. Here's my favorite example. Of course, is Trademark Factory. Not Trademark Factory. Sorry, guys. It's getting late here. So, favorite example is Coca-Cola. They filed their trademark in 1892 and have been renewing it ever since. Right? In theory, they can own this brand forever as long as they keep renewing. So. And they're not paying annual fees on that. The only thing is that in the U.S., that's the only country that I know does this. There is one extra maintenance filing between the 5th and 6th anniversary of your trademark registration, where it's very similar to a renewal, really. You just have to prove to the trademarks office, hey, we're still in business. Here's how we're using this brand. Make sure we stay on the record. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't know about this. Those who file through those cheap companies, they're not being notified when this 5th or 6th anniversary happens, and there's so much spam that comes in to people around trademarks that may not notice those notices, and they lose their trademarks, because if you don't file the maintenance papers between that 5th and 6th anniversary, your trademark is going to be taken off the record. It's going to be considered abandoned, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's a small grace period during which you can revive it for an extra fee, but beyond that, That's it. And you'll have to file a new trademark from scratch. And the Trademarks Office is not going to care that your trademark was registered first. So if you let your trademark expire, you don't file those maintenance papers between the 5th and 6th anniversary, and someone else filed a trademark very similar to yours at that time, and then you file your new one basically saying, hey, I forgot, please I want my trademark back, you'll already have problem from the second company that filed their trademark before you, because to the Trademarks Office, your dead trademark doesn't exist anymore. They don't care. All right, so let me try to see if I got the first part of the question correctly. So do we ever have contests where we give away a 3 or 6 mark filing? No, we don't. So we do have, occasionally we have some promotions when we offer discounts when you get several trademarks. Those we do. Contests, when we give those away, no. Again, it's a long process. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll do it, but that's not something we've done before. That's not something we have in plans of doing. And if you have a desire to file 3 or 6 trademarks, what I suggest is you go to trademarkfactory.com, you book your call with one of our strategy advisors, and we'll see what deal we can offer you. I can guarantee you it's not going to be 0. But I also can guarantee you that it's not going to be 2,600 times 3 or times 6. So hope that answers the question. Another question from TP. How can you file without someone taking your idea? So trademarking is not really about ideas, right? Trademarking is about protecting the brand. And that's the whole beauty of the process is once you file your trademark application, you are on record for claiming that brand, whether it's a name, a logo, or a tagline. Really there's 2 parts to this question, right? In terms of somebody taking your idea. One part of it is who you use to file your trademarks through, right? Do they have a reputation of stealing other people's brands? No, you're right. There is some risk that if you talk to people who are not bound by any ethics, by any standards, then there might be a risk that when you reveal to them what brand you want to trademark, they will hijack it, file it on, in their own name, and then you'll have to figure out a way to fight them. Could this happen? Yes. Then the other thing is, but this doesn't happen very often. Usually, you shouldn't be really expecting that risk from trademarking companies. And certainly, again, look at reviews, Google reviews. That's a good source of trying to see if someone claimed there was a problem like that, and if it smells bad, if you see that someone is offering a legal service for $69, well, it should tell you something about the quality. And the second part of it is, how do you trademark without someone taking it? It's again, once you file your trademark, that's it. You've claimed your right, and that's good enough. The bigger problem is your brand being taken because you didn't trademark. That's the whole reason why people go ahead and trademark their brands, so that nobody can take it away from them as you grow the business. That's why there's this thing called intent to use trademarks. When you file your trademark application, before you have a product, before you have a service, right, you just want to say, if I ever launch a product or a service with that name, I want to own it. And that's something that exists in the U.S. That's something that exists in every country, where You're not even required to launch the product before you get protection to that name. So ideally, you want to be the first person who believes in the potential value of your brand, and once you do, you go ahead and you invest in protecting it, and then you launch. This is what Apple does all the time, right? Before they launch, this is how, like, if you follow like tech news, right? Where most leaks come from is either their patent filings or their trademarking filings. Right, is that someone sees that, and they don't, and they're pretty smart about this. They don't start with filings in the U.S. They start filing in some obscure countries, and usually they do it with some obscure company names, and then they get the initial protection, and then they that buys them a certain period of time during which they can refile in other countries under their correct name, and so, but there's a lot of journalists who thrive on looking at stuff like this. So you file first, you get protection, then you sleep well at night. That's how it works. All right. So next question: Jet Mobile Auto Detailing. What is the usual time frame for the USPTO to continue on a trademark that was suspended for likelihood of confusion? All right, so there's a lot here to unpack in this question. So first of all, let me explain what suspended for likelihood of confusion means. It means that you file your trademark application, and the Trademarks Office looked at that, and they saw that there's another pending trademark application by someone else that they feel is for a brand that's too close to yours. Right? That other trademark hasn't registered yet. Could it register? Maybe. Will it register? They don't know. And so what they're saying is that if that other trademark registers, then this office action will trigger the problem that you'll have to deal with one way or the other. And if that other trademark doesn't register, if it for whatever reason disappears, whether it's because it's opposed or because they withdraw it or because you two have a coexistence agreement or whatever, right? If that other trademark doesn't doesn't get registered, then it will no longer pose a problem. So how long can it take? Really, it's going to take as long as it takes between the time that they issue that suspension notice until their trademark either gets registered or it gets final rejection, or gets abandoned, right? So it gets dead. That can take months. That can take years, and there's really no good answer to that. That's why it's called suspension. What it does is that it stops the ticking of the clock in respect of your trademark application. They say we have no idea how long it's going to take, and keep an eye on this. And so what then? They internally have obviously their computer systems that are reminders. So once the fate of that other trademark application is determined, they'll go back to you and say, that other trademark registered, sorry bud, you'll have to respond to this office action because we feel that your application is confusingly similar with that other trademark. Or they're going to say, hey, that trademark went away, congratulations, we withdraw the objection, we approve your trademark application, it's going to continue on its path to approval, allowance, and registration. So that's the answer to that question. All right, we got a question from Forrest. And by the way, guys, everyone, thank you so much for the engagement. I really love the engagement. Lots of great questions, and as I was preparing to take you through the checklist, I was like, I have no idea if anyone's going to show up and ask any questions, and it's really, 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 really cool to see so much interest, and I'm hoping that I'm giving you the value that you came here for. All right, so question from Forrest Blasper. How long does USPTO have to respond to a request for reconsideration after FOA? I went through your company to trademark my name, brand, and some other classifications. Final action by USPTO was on, so is it January? So I'm assuming January 10th, 2023. I actually don't know. I don't want to, invent an answer. I don't have the specific answer. What we can do is ask the attorney who's assigned to your case, and we can make sure that we just inform you by email. Sorry. I wish I had an answer. I don't. Zeke, can you do me a favor? Can you mark it down somewhere so that we post it in the client chat internally and get the answer for Forrest?
Yep, already did that.
Cool, thanks. Are there more questions, or do we move to the checklist? What are we doing?
Andrew, more questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is a little bit slow for us to keep up with all the questions. So they wanted to chat. You can check that out.
No. Okay. So all right. So question from Andrei C. Does a USA trademark protect in Mexico and Canada? No, it does not. Trademarks are done on a per country basis, and a trademark in one country gives you no rights in any other country. There were a few cases about spillover effect from famous brands that, for companies that had built huge reputation, like border towns, and people would drive by, and then, for example, US, right, and then somebody would take advantage of that and start a similar company in Canada. The U.S. brand was able to prove that, hey, they built that reputation in Canada too, but don't count on that. If you want to protect your brand across the North America, Canada, U.S. and Mexico, you will need 3 trademarks. There's really no way around that. Okay. All right, I'm not going to mess it up. We're going to let the team take care of the questions. Every time I do something, tell me, Andrei, stop touching your mouse. So let me know what you want me to do, guys.
Keep going. Keep going. Responding. We have the Andrei C.
Yeah.
The next one is from.
Another one from Otis Jackson.
Yeah.
Which one? Do you want to select it so I can see it? Either in the chat or in the window, because.
This question is very technical, though. If you file the 1B application to the USPTO, will it still take a year or longer once you do a 1A application afterwards?
Where is that?
I'm gonna. Just gonna bump it.
Okay, all right, good question. So from Modest Jackson, if you filed 1B application to the USPTO, and 1B means intent to use, right? It's the one you file in a way that does not require that you file with that trademark application evidence of you already using that trademark in commerce. So if you file a 1B application to the USPTO, will it still take a year or longer once you do a 1A application afterwards? So your 1B does not become 1A. If you file as 1B, then it goes through exactly the same examination process, takes exactly the same amount of time, and your trademark will get approved about the same time as 1. And 1A is when you file a trademark after you already have use, right? So same idea, same time to approval, to allowance, but the difference is after your trademark gets allowed, then if you file with 1A, then that's it. It automatically goes to registration. If you file through 1B, then at that point you still need to show to the trademarks office that, hey, we have now the evidence of use to show you that this brand is now being used in commerce, and then if anything, 1B takes longer because you're splitting the demonstration of your evidence between the filing and post-allowance declaration of use or statement of use. And there's nothing that makes it faster by you going with 1B. The only thing that can, where you save time is on the filing, because you don't need to collect that evidence. So really this is very, 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 very technical and strategic. The rule of thumb here is this: if you already sell products under that brand that you're trying to claim, or if you sell services that under a brand that you're trying to claim, then you should file under 1A because you already have use. And if you don't, then don't. Then you file under 1B. There's a borderline idea that, hey, we're going to be selling services. All we need is a website that mentions that brand, and it's true. Can I launch this website today or tomorrow? If you can, then that's a good idea to actually do that. Put that up there, file it under 1A. For evidence, you're just going to provide the link to your URL, some screenshots, and you're done. But if it's about a product, you're much better off filing as 1B, launching your product without extra haste, and then filing the evidence after your trademark gets allowed. So I hope that answers that question. All right, what are we doing now? So, Zeke, is Andres, are you guys handling the questions, or what are we doing?
With that, we are having technical issues. I think the connection doesn't allow me to control from here.
Huh.
So I think it's better that to keep answering the question that we have in the chat, and the ones that we have in the chat. I think there is a really good one for Real Chips DC. What's up? I got a trademark for my company, Fish Scale Jeans and Co.
Hang on. So where is that? It's in the chat, right? You guys put it in the Telegram chat for me?
Yeah, it's in the chat. Yeah, because we have a lot of questions.
A lot of questions is good.
Yeah.
Okay, whose question am I looking for again?
Real Cheap DC.
Okay, you can check Telegram. I put it. I just put it there.
Okay. All right. So sorry guys for the technical issues, but I hope the answers are worth the wait. So question from Real Chips DZ. I got a trademark for my company, Fish Scale Jeans and Co. It's it's pisgoting. We can expand it internationally. When you send my money back, you gain my trust. Trust in your service when you send my money back. Okay, so all right. So you guys can read it in the comments, and I can't because I'm like I can only focus on so many things. So thank you because really we had the situation when a client came in, wanted to trademark something, and we said the brand was problematic, and we said, you know what, the brand is problematic, and then it's up to you to either move forward with that or change it to something else, or get your money back. And when the client requests a refund, we provide a refund. That's the whole idea behind the money back guarantee. We find that a lot of people get surprised when they actually see their money back because there's so much scam happening around trademarking services. It's not even funny. So we want to be the good guys in the industry, and earn people's trust. That's how we play this game. So thank you for saying all the good stuff about us, and hopefully people can see it as a testimonial. All right, so here's a question from Andrei. Is there a discount for multiple trademark filing? Yes, there is. This is something you will discuss with your strategy advisor that you can get on a call with, really, by going to the website and requesting a call from there. Zeke, did we set up anything special for this live, how people can reach out to strategy advisors directly, or we just use the normal channels?
We just use the normal channels.
Yeah, okay, so go to the website. There's a big button that says book a call, and pick a time and speak to a strategy advisor. Speaking of, we're probably going to have a really exciting announcement soon. We will open this up to, because right now when you go to the website, right, you have to pick a time, and sometimes you have to wait. So the team has been growing. The team has expanded. We got some really great strategy advisors who joined the team, and what we'll do is we'll change that button from book a call to get a call back in the next 10 minutes. So that's probably going to be launched sometime next week, and but don't wait for next week. Book your call now. Anyway, question from KR: how would a business know to oppose your trademark? Does the trademark office alert businesses for a new trademark has been filed that is similar to others, and they can oppose? That's a really, really, really good question. No, the Trademarks Office does not notify anybody. All they do is they publish the trademark application for the opposition purposes in Trademarks Gazette and online on the USPTO's website or the Trademarks Office's website, and they assume that everyone who is interested regularly goes through the Gazette in search of trademark applications that may be too similar to theirs. Of course, nobody does this, and that's why the percentage of those oppositions is so low. What big companies do is they use a third-party service that all it does is it monitors new trademark filings, and it triggers based on keywords, right? So Coca-Cola, right, they use something similar, and so if somebody tries to file a trademark that's remotely close to Coca-Cola, that service is going to say, hey, Bob Smith is trying to file a trademark, for Coca-Cola, where O is replaced by a 0 and L is replaced by a 1, but it looks exactly the same as Coca-Cola, so they'll know that they filed. They'll probably not even wait for opposition. They'll just send a cease and desist letter, but they also can wait. And when it gets to if for whatever reason the Trademarks Office does not notice the similarity and approves that mark, so it gets to the opposition stage, at that point they can oppose. But usually that stuff is going to get killed by the Trademarks Office anyway. So short answer to your question, you won't know unless you pay somebody to monitor. And we do have this service as well. It's kind of an add-on. It's not part of any of our packages. Is that if you have a brand that's yours, we can monitor the register for any trademarks that are being filed that are similar to yours, and it's kind of a monthly subscription. So if something pops up, we're going to let you know and say, hey, someone filed this trademark. What do you want to do? Do you want to wait? Do you want to oppose? Do you what do you want to do? And based on that, you can decide. So it doesn't come with a follow-up service, because not everything we can do. We're not a litigation firm. All we do is we register trademarks. But that's my answer to you. A question from Van Raj. If a trademark is dead, can we apply for it? Yes, absolutely. That's really if there's a dead trademark. So first of all, I'm assuming that there are no other trademarks that are still alive. So if you look at some of the big brands, a lot of them have filed multiple trademarks, and they've allowed some of them to die because the goods and services have been overlapping and things like that. So they don't need some other trademark, but it doesn't mean that they don't have other trademarks that still cover that brand, right? But if that's the only trademark for that name or that logo or that tagline, and it's dead, then in theory, yes, it means that you can file. There's two possibilities there. After you file a trademark that's similar to someone else's dead trademark, if the other trademark is dead because they really are no longer in business, they have no interest in maintaining that brand, then your trademark is going to go through, and Trademarks Office is going to disregard the dead trademark because to them it doesn't exist. The other possibility is that they missed something, right? They're actively in business under that brand. They just let their trademark die. They didn't have Trademark Factory behind them. They didn't get notification that they need to renew their trademark. They thought they had a trademark. Now they don't, right? But they're very much in business. So if you file a trademark and they'll somehow find out, they may still oppose you, and they may still say, hey, we're out there, we have been doing this for 37 years, we're still doing it, we're opposing this trademark in the hope that the Trademarks Office is going to see that and refuse registration. So, but you'll only know when that happens. So do your research. When you see a dead trademark, I always make a big deal out of, we don't want clients who are trying to steal other people's brands. If someone on a technicality forgot to renew their trademark and the trademark got dead, I find this unethical to try to file that trademark. If you know that they've stopped using this mark, they have no interest in reviving it, the mark is dead, they're no longer in business, then it's fair game, and so that's the research you do, and that's how you go about that. Okay, here's And a question from KR, what's your success rate filing trademarks? This is something I'm extremely proud of. It's 99.3%. 99.3% of all the trademarks that we file have been approved, and a few of them that we told to clients were registrable didn't go through. Obviously 0.7%, and all of them got their money back. And the money back guarantee that we have pushes us to take a few steps above and over what a typical firm would do, because to us it's not just our reputation, it's not just a relationship with a client, it's also the money back. So compare that to the overall an average success rate in the U.S. of 50. I think it's 51.2, something like that. I think I have it in the checklist that I wanted to go through. But ours is 99.3. It's higher than anyone that I am aware of in this industry, and we filed thousands of trademarks. So it's not like we filed one trademark and it went through by some miracle. We do have quite a bit of statistics, and this is something I'm very, 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 very proud of. Here's a question from Roderick Martin. Why the big secret? If my trademark consists of 3 elements, one is the name, one is the tagline, one is the logo or icon or symbol. If I want to use the tagline or icon or apparel, do I register each on separate? All right, so you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the checklist, because this is really what I wanted to go through anyway. So I'll answer that as part of that. So as I was saying in the beginning, right? So there's brand names and there's icons. There's 3 types of logos, right? You can have icons, just these guys, right? So like Facebook, Mercedes, the 3-star, the Nike swoosh, right? You can also have logos that are brand name in a fancy font, in a recognizable font that makes it a brand, or you can have some sort of a combination. And by the way, here's the link, right? tmf.rocks/tm-checklist. Go there, get your checklist. It's 14 pages long. It's really got a lot of details. We're probably not going to cover all of it today. And then you got taglines, right? You got taglines. You got I'm loving it, or just do it. And you got combinations. So these are the combinations where you can have names with logos. We can have names with taglines. You can have all of it together. And these are called combined trademarks. And so the question here from Roderick was, can I get all of it in a single trademark? Yes, you can. Will it let you get strong protection around individual elements? No, it won't. So filing one trademark for all 3 brand elements is better than filing nothing, right? But it's probably going to give you the weakest protection, because when you file your trademark for everything as a combination, that's what you're claiming to the world is your brand. So if someone for example, if, let's say this, LG, right? It's a great example. So they got the icon, they got the word LG, and they've got the tagline, life's good, right? If that was the only trademark that they had, let's assume that they have nothing else, just that one, and someone else wanted to trademark just simply life's good, they probably would have gotten away with that. LG by itself, bit more problematic because of how prominent LG is in this logo, but it's still, could be a thing. But if someone were to try to trademark, LC, something that's pretty close to LG in how it looks like, they'll probably get away with that, because if LG said, well, this is too close to ours, they would say, no, your trademark has the logo, your trademark has the tagline, and your name is even different, so we can have our LLC. But if they trademarked LG as 2 letters, just as a word mark, and someone else tried to do LC, that would be significantly easier for them to go after anybody with just the name, right? Or if someone wanted to do, life is good, right? Again, minor variation, right? LG has life's good with an apostrophe and the exclamation mark, and someone says, well, life is good. Again, same argument, right? They'll say, hey, it's a different brand. They don't own just the tagline by itself. It creates a different impression. So the ideal way to deal with that is to file these as three separate trademarks, because that's going to give you the strongest protection for each individual element. And here's another thing that you should be worried about when you file for a combined mark. So let's say, again, I just like this example of LG. So let's say you file for that, and then 2 years later, your icon changes, right? It stops being this red circle and it becomes, I don't know, a green triangle. Now, anyone can seek that your registered trademark be canceled for non-use, because you're no longer using this trademark as you registered it. You got a different logo, or you got a different tagline, right? And if you haven't used it, if you're not actively using this trademark in connection with product and services, then anyone can raise their hand and say, hey, let's kill this trademark. And if they do, the whole thing gets killed. It's not that you can tell them, well, we changed our logo, so let's replace it in this registration. That's not how it's going to work, right? The whole thing is going to die. And as that happens, some scrupulous competitor could file their own trademark for the same name, for the same tagline, and kill your combined mark, and you're going to be left with nothing. Compare that to when you file 3 separate trademarks, right? Your logo dies. Well, yeah, your logo changed, so you had an asset that you protected. Now you're no longer interested in that. You got a new logo. That's okay, right? So that trademark dies, you file a new one for the new logo, but you got 2 more trademarks, one for the name, one for the tagline, and that's how you preserve the legacy of your brand. That's how you protect your future, right? So I hope that answered that question. Okay, we already played that game the previous live. Hey Danielle, thank you for your question. I'm gonna attempt it this time around. Danielle has since joined Trademark Factory, became a client. If a trademark is filed that lists 2 or 3 products, is it enough to show proof of use for just one to get the trademark approved by the USPTO? Okay, so that's a great question. So it depends on 2 things. So the question again is, so when you file your trademark, first, actually let me see if I can find this here. Hang on. So that's the where, which by the way was the question about the countries. So goods and services. So yeah, so that's the goods and services. When you file your trademark, you file it in connection with specific products and services. So that's the searches. Hang on, I'm just trying to see. Do we have that? Yeah, so 51.7 is the overall stats, and ours is 99.3. Yeah, 68% of trademark applications get an office action, and 81 if you're self-represented applicants. So I'm going to see, do we have this? Okay, so maybe it's not in the checklist. So what I was hoping for is the things that go into your trademark application. Hang on one sec. So that's the search. Okay, so all right, let me switch back from the checklist. So, all right, when you file your trademark, there's a few things that go into your trademark application. One is the owner, the other one is the trademark itself, and then the list of goods and services. And that list of goods and services has to be broken down into categories that they're called classes. And there's 45 classes. There's 34 classes for physical products and 11 classes for services. So Danielle's question is, when you file your application, there's a whole list of products and services. Well, she says 2 or 3, but there can be a lot more than that. There could be, 50. And then let's say you're filing under 1A, which means you're already claiming use. So when you do that and you show evidence of use, do you have to show use for every single product or not? So as I said, there's 2 things there. First is that depends on whether those products are in the same class or multiple classes. At the very minimum, you should show one product or one service per class, right? So for each class, you have to have your separate evidence of use. And sometimes the evidence is exactly the same, right? So for example, if you are I don't know, if you are let's say education services, which is class 41, and maybe downloadable downloadable podcasts, something like that, that'll be class 9, right? So you can, in theory, show very similar evidence from the same website. Basically say, hey, here you can watch the video, here's the download button, right? But you have to show separate evidence for at least one product in each class. Now, by randomly, USPTO might request you to show evidence for every single one of them. That happens very rarely. It's triggered on a few applications that we filed. Again, they do it randomly, or they say they do it randomly. When they say, hey, you've said you have all these 27 products, you've only given us evidence for one, would like to see evidence for the remaining 26. And if you can't show that in that case, then you may run into problems, because when you file your application, you're supposed to be truthful, and if they see any smell that it's fraudulent, they may take some drastic actions. But again, this is very rare. So I hope this answers your question. So basically, initially, one product per class or one service per class is enough, but don't stuff your application with things that you can't prove just because you don't have to prove it at the time of filing the application, because that can backfire. All right. Another question from Swagability: can a process be started and then, as revenue hopefully increases, can you add marks on? So yes and no. This is really what everyone does, right? You have to start somewhere. You have to start with one trademark, and Amazon now owns over 1,300 trademarks in the U.S. alone, right? And Jeff Bezos filed their trademark long before Amazon was anything. If I remember correctly, it was 1995 that he filed his first trademark, and that was one, right? And then he filed another one, and then he filed another one, and then he filed another one, and somehow they got into 1,300 trademarks. But to your question, can you add something on? No, you cannot. So once you file your trademark, you can no longer add products and services to it. You cannot add other brand elements to it. You just file additional trademarks. That's how big companies end up with so many trademark applications that they're maintaining. It's like in a way, it's like domain names, right? you think it's a good idea, you grab one, and some of them you let go, some of them you keep using, and some of them you keep storing. It's just a more expensive version of securing assets for your brand. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Did I miss any questions, Zeke, or where are we with this? Okay, question from Jamar Colmain. How long do you have to show proof of use after your trademark has been allowed? Okay, that's a great question. So it's not that you have to show it to anyone, but you have to preserve it, because in case someone tries to kill your trademark for non-use, you have to be able to say, we're actively using this mark, we have been, and that can go to having screenshots of your website, that can go to photographs of your packaging, your products, your invoices, things like that. Could be about your Google Analytics, when you're showing, hey, we've got visitors from this country, we've got visitors from that country. So all of that, it's good to have close by, and it's very unlikely that you're going to be requested to show that outside of the normal renewal process, right, every 10 years, or in the US between the 5th and 6th anniversary. But you want to be ready, you want to be prepared, and here's the important thing. We've seen a ton of trademarks lost by brand owners who've got their trademarks registered. Then someone's trying to initiate cancellation proceedings based on non-use, and they're getting cocky. They're like, hey, it's my trademark. Of course, it's in use. So they decide to respond to the petition for cancellation themselves without legal help. And use has very special meaning in trademarking world that most normal people don't understand. And it's not arrogance in me saying this. It's simply that it's not common sense use, right? And oftentimes they provide a response, they provide a bunch of photographs, they provide a bunch of sob stories about how they started this brand, because of this and this and this, and the trademarks office looks at that and says, yeah, all of this is irrelevant. The registrant failed to provide acceptable evidence, so we have no other choice but to cancel this trademark. Seen this dozens of times, and it's sad, because all they had to do is just properly structure the response, and they didn't know how to. They got too cocky. Okay. All right. EMC Square asks, what's the difference between a trade name and a trademark? Okay, great question. Trade name is your company name that you register when you incorporate a company or register your LLC. That's trade. That's a name under which you conduct business. That is not limited to any particular products, any particular services. It's your identification as the entity. And that's, in the vast majority of cases, is limited to the state where you registered, or the province if you're in Canada. And it's not the same thing as a trademark. The trademarks are federal, they cover this whole country, and they are issued in connection with specific products and services for which you're claiming protection. So I'm sure the follow-up question is which beats what. and trademarks are stronger than trade names, mostly because they're federal. And if I own a trademark and you go and you register a company with a similar name in your state, the corporate registries, they don't care about trademarks, right? These government entities, they don't talk to one another, right? So let's say somebody we have obviously a trademark in the U.S., right, for Trademark Factory. So let's say somebody wants to start Trademark Factory LLC in Nevada. I don't know, just making this up. So the corporate registry of Nevada will typically not look into trademarking, right? They might register that LLC. But if we find out that they're actually conducting business, offering trademark registration services to people in the U.S., we can use our trademark to shut them down like this, right? It's because trade names, again, they're not for conducting specific activity; they're for identifying the owner. Right, and as soon as that owner does something that falls under the umbrella of trademark infringement, trademark owner wins every time. Okay, Louis, it's been a while. Good to see you on the live. Louis Stack asked the question: how do I change our corporate name on our trademarks, both U.S. and Canada? As a client, you can. Well, there's three things you can do. First, you can message me. You got my phone. You can text me, and I'll get the process running for you. Second, you can go to your client cabinet. There's a big button there as a client. It's actually one of the things I'm very, very, very proud of. What our clients get, they get access to the client cabinet, where they can see all the status of all their trademarks, all their invoices, all of their agreements, all that stuff. And also there's this big button there that we call legal chat, that they can have sometimes real time, sometimes not real time, but gets very quick communication with the legal team. So you can go there, click that orange button, say, hey, I want to change ownership for my trademarks, and someone's gonna call you or email you, and just go from there. Or you can just send us an email, and you do have our emails for the legal team, so you can message them, and they'll be happy to help you set this in motion. So it's a really simple process. When you say change corporate name, there's really two things that can be meant by that. One is that you sold your trademark from one company to another, completely different company. It's called assignment. That needs to be reflected and recorded with the trademarks office through the recordal of the assignment agreement. But the second possibility is when it's the same company, just different name. And that's a simple change of name. That's a different process. And like, for example, Trademark Factory, initially when I started this company back in 2011, we're actually 15 days away from the from the anniversary of Trademark Factory, which I started in 2011. But I started it not as Trademark Factory. I started it as Mincov Law Corporation back in Canada, and I had no idea I'd come up with Trademark Factory back in the day, so I started just a regular law firm, called it Mincov Law Corporation, and by 2013 I came up with a brand. I came up with the idea of offering trademarking services with a guaranteed result for a guaranteed budget, and then we switched the company name. So the bank accounts, the corporate number, all of that, the tax number, all of that stayed the same, right? We just changed the name. I have this certificate of, well, it's not called legal. how is it called? Name alteration, it's called in Canada. We showed it to the bank, we showed it to the Trademarks office, we showed it to this and this and this, so you can do it that way. But again, we're obviously happy to walk you through this. Just reach out and we'll get someone. Actually, you know what, Zeke? Same thing. Can you put it in a client chat on our end that someone reaches out to Luis, and we'll take it from there. Okay? Probably get Amanda to do it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So a few more questions. So Retro Rumpus. What percentage of your legal team is based in North America so far? All 3 paralegals that I have dealt with are from the Philippines, and I've noticed the language barrier that caused issues. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. The paralegals are all in the Philippines. That's part of the model. The trademarks will be filed by licensed attorneys in the U.S. if it's a U.S. trademark, by licensed trademark agents in Canada if you're filing in Canada. It's Amanda that I just mentioned. She's in Montreal. The paralegals, English. So the beauty of the Philippines is that they're all bilingual, right? English is their official language. So it's not that they don't speak it. Sometimes the pronunciation could be, an accent. Sometimes it could be a concern, but most of them, I know it's not a concern. Again, we filed thousands of trademarks. So the beauty of the system is that it allows us to offer the services that give you access to someone who understands the process, who gives you access to people who can facilitate the conversation between you, the trademark attorney who's going to file, and the trademarks office, right? And again, to me, what really matters is the 99.3% rate of success, right? We don't hire people who have no idea about the trademarking process. We hire people who go through rigid training and who will make sure that whatever gets filed gets approved by the trademarks office, that gets registered. And I mean, if you do feel that you were misunderstood, and again, look, I'm not dismissing the concern. I'm not dismissing the feedback or complaint. If you do feel that there was some misunderstanding, there was something that where you weren't heard, I urge you, again, go to the client cabinet and in that legal chat post, hey, I've just spoken to this and this person, and I had this and this problem, and everyone's going to see it, like the whole legal team. I'm going to see it, everyone's going to see it, and we're going to find a way to make sure that your concerns are dealt with, and we're going to go from there, right? So we've got an international team from pretty much all over the world. We've got a bunch of people from the Philippines, we've got a bunch of people from North America, we've got a bunch of people from Europe, and it's what makes the whole thing work. Funny enough, we got this internal joke about the team members from the Philippines. Sometimes we spell Trademark Factory with a PH. So, but in all seriousness, I'm very proud of everyone on our team. So, if you didn't have a great experience with one of them, again, please feel free to post it in the client chat, and we'll make sure that this gets dealt with. Okay. Okay, Billy Atwell. Registered my business name November 2020, and nothing happened as of yet. We filed this trademark in Canada November 2020, but hasn't been examined yet. That's the reality of Canada, Billy. It takes them close to 3 or 4 years now. It's ridiculous, I know. It's absolutely despicable that it takes them this long to examine trademarks, but that's their backlog. And for COVID, they've used and abused as their excuse right and left, like, well, it's COVID. Yeah, COVID. Everyone's working from home, but still COVID, right? It still takes them unpermissibly long. They're short on people. Their business processes are not great, and unfortunately, it takes this long. And even more unfortunately, there's nothing you or me or anybody can do about this. So they just need to hire more people, and they need to hire more qualified people. And to add insult to injury, right, they keep making it harder for people to enter the profession. So I don't know if Amanda's listening to this. You're going to have some fun around this. Is that every year they're changing the exam, not the questions. That's reasonable, but they're changing the approach, and they're making it almost impossible to write this exam. The success percentage of people who pass the exam goes lower and lower and lower because their tech is horrible, and what that means is that they got less and less professionals in the industry, and so they got less and less professionals who can become trademark agents, who would then become somebody who can work for the trademarks office. And so they're, on the one hand, they're complaining about the backlogs. On the other hand, they're making it harder for people to join them. So not a smart strategy. All right, what we got? God in the Machine. Can you sell shirts online with a class 41 and 35? Well, you can do anything, right? You don't need a trademark to sell shirts in any class. The real question is, are you going to be protected for the brand? And that's one thing. And the other thing is what kind of shirts. So if what you're saying is that you're selling shirts with some educational messages on them, it's one thing. If you sell shirts as like you have an apparel brand, and one of the things that you have is shirts, then that's purely class 25 that you got to have for apparel. And if it's about messages, then it would be pretty hard actually to trademark that in class 25, because to the USPTO it's considered ornamental trademark, right? It's not a brand; it's just a message that you're trying to demonstrate to people. So usually we actually have a video about trademarking T-shirts. So go to YouTube to our channel and check that out. It's actually very helpful. But to answer your question specifically, if you want to protect your T-shirt business, you need class 25. Whether you can get one or not will depend on your specific situation. Okay, another question from Billy. I need to trademark my slogan. And sorry, there's a typo there. So, okay, I need to trademark my slogan. And what should I do? Should I do it now? It's funny. So Billy somehow combined the word and what, or what. So what should I do it now? Would it take that long? And for that as well, yes, it's going to take that long for that as well. But the beauty with trademarks is once you file it, it's in the system. It's not going to go anywhere, right? It's annoying. It pisses everyone off. You sometimes forget that you have a trademark pending, but eventually it's going to mature to trademark being examined, being approved, being allowed, being registered, right? So if you see in Canada, right, if you see that this slogan you're still going to be using, 5, 6, 10 years from now, if you're building it for the future, it's a good idea to file that trademark and get that process started. If you think that it's going to have a shorter lifespan, maybe a year or two, probably not in Canada, not today. And it really hurts me to say, because I think it's letting down a lot of entrepreneurs with how the system works there now. Okay, we've got a question from our Roland. Please try to do more live streams. They're very helpful with all the different questions. Thank you, Roland. Yeah, you know what? I really enjoy this as well, because and today I think we had a record number of questions, and it's fun. It's fun to me, because it gives me an opportunity to talk to real people rather than just a teleprompter and a camera when I do my regular videos. So absolutely, we're going to be doing more of these, at least once a month. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know. Time zones is also a thing, right? Because most of the audience is in North America. Right now, I'm in Lisbon, Portugal, right? And so we started this. It was 1 p.m. Pacific, but it was 9 p.m. where I am. So it's getting close to 11 p.m. here, and I mean, good thing I go to bed late. But next month I'm going to be in Korea and Japan, so I'm spending September in Seoul, and then I'm going to Japan. I'm going to see Formula One race. I'm going to see some concerts in Japan. So it's pretty interesting thing. So the time zone there is even harder to match with North America, and then I'm going to be going back to Dubai in October, where I spend most of the time now. So we'll figure out how to do more lives. We want to make sure that I don't fall asleep, while I do these, and while still making it workable for people who actually ask questions. But thank you for your feedback. Really appreciate that. Okay. Surplus star. If I've already filed my trademark, can you still represent me? Yes and no. Really depends on what needs to be done with that trademark. Typically, we don't like this because we see that the biggest value we can provide is by giving you the whole process from start to finish. That's really what differentiates us from everyone else, right? Can we find an attorney who's going to respond on your behalf to an office action? Yes, probably. By doing that, will we be adding that much value compared to you finding that attorney yourself? I honestly, again, this depends on your specific situation. What we usually do is you can send us a message, tell us your trademark application number. We can look at, what the status there. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, right? So you get an office action and you read through it and you realize, yeah, the trademarks office, they're right. This trademark application should not go through, and we say it's not worth fighting. Really, the next best thing you can do is come up with a different brand, or just file a different trademark, and that of course is something we can help you with. But if we see that, hey, this has a reasonably high chance of success of it going through, if we only respond to this office action and say this and this and this and this, then we can take you on. We'll have a look at what needs to be done. We'll give you a quote, and if you like it, we'll go from there. How can we help you? So you know what? Send an email to our general email at tm@trademarkfactory.com. Right? So TM for trademark, tm@trademarkfactory.com. It's the email on the website, and give us the trademark application number. Don't put it here on YouTube. I think it's not a good idea, and we'll let you know. Or here's another way. On the website trademarkfactory.com, there's the general chat. Again, you can basically click there and say, hey, I'm the guy who asked the question about representing me. Here's the application number. We'll see it. They'll pass it on to the legal team. They'll do the checkups, and they'll get back to you. So that's that. Question from Michael McKinsey, Senior. What's the best make trademarks registered in U.S. protected around the world once you receive your U.S. PTO trademarks, and how to keep your classification updated? So there's a few typos there, so I'm hoping I read this correctly. So my understanding is, first, about the order of countries that you go through, and then how do you keep your classification updated. So let me go to the checklist. So not this, the countries. Yeah, so here's our rule of thumb for how to approach where you trademark your brand. You start with your home country first. If you're in U.S., yes, you start in the U.S. And then you look at countries where you expect to generate revenue, right? Our magic number is 30K plus worth of annual revenue. So if you feel that, Mexico, right? You'll have customers that will give you 30K in revenue. It's a good idea to trademark your brand there, or Canada, or India, or whatever. The next one is you trademark in the countries where you expect to have expenses, right? Whether it's marketing expenses, operations, advertising, things like that. And there the threshold is even lower, so I'll say 5K. If you spend money to be present in that country, spend a bit more money to make sure that you own the brand under which you are present in that country. And last one is, if you sell physical products, and you make those physical products in countries other than the ones where you sell them, then also consider getting a trademark in the country where you make them, because if you don't, someone else can file a trademark and they can prevent you from exporting your own things that you paid for under your brand out of that country to the countries where you want to sell them. So that's a big deal. So you start with your home country, and Michael, and then you just look at, usually what we recommend is make a list. Come up with a list. Where do you want this, right? What makes sense, and then prioritize that list based on importance. And then let's say you come up with a list of 10 countries, and then you look at how much the whole thing is going to cost you for 10 countries. And if it's within your budget, then do all 10. And if you're like, ooh, that's way too much than I'm willing to pay, then you just make that list shorter from the bottom, right? So let's say you have 10, and you're like, can I get 9? Can I get 8? Can I get 6? Can I get 4? And like, 4 is good, so trademark those 4. And then grow business some more, and then get another list. And that's really the usual game, right? It's two things: either trademarkable there, and do you have the budget? Because you can be trademarking stuff all day long in the whole world, and it's going to cost you a fortune, and in most cases it's going to be stuff you don't really need. It's about setting your priorities straight. Sometimes instead of trademarking the name in a country that you don't even sell anything, might as well trademark your logo or your tagline in the country where you have most of your sales coming from, right? And that's what our strategy advisors are for. They can help you figure that out on a call as well, right? So, and as for classifications, you say keeping them updated. So here are the 45 classes, in case someone wonders. Let's see if I can get this. Yeah, okay. You can't really. The only thing you can do to keep them current is by removing products from your trademark that you no longer use. But you cannot add, you cannot change, right? The only thing you can do is you can keep narrowing it down, narrowing it down, narrowing it down. You cannot broaden. If you need to broaden, you need to file a new trademark application, and that's going to be examined as any other brand new trademark application. They don't care very much about your other trademarks that you already have. Okay, so that I answered. Z, can you remove the questions that I already answered to, please? Okay, so CFN came from nothing. If your LLC was filed as an LLC and your trademark was filed with USPTO, do we need to file an international trademark? I don't really see the connection. So if your LLC was filed as an LLC and your trademark was filed with USPTO, do we still need to file an international trademark? Well, your USPTO trademark is only going to cover you in the US. And whether you have an LLC or a corporation or something else, a nonprofit, joint, it doesn't matter, right? So neither one of those protects your brand internationally. The only thing that can protect your brand internationally is you filing your trademark in a bunch of countries. So there is this thing called Madrid trademark application in the name of Madrid Treaty or Protocol that allows you to file one trademark application and just put check marks next to countries where you want to protect your brand. But in the end of the day, yes, you file one trademark application, but it gets then sent by WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. That gets sent to national trademarks offices of all those countries that you put check marks next to, and in the end of the day, you're going to have registrations, separate registrations in all those countries, right? So it's not that you're going to have an international registration. My brand is protected internationally. There's no such thing. Okay, Andrei C. Can a business name be trademarked in the U.S. and it's not a product? Yes, if you make products or offer services under that name. So Trademark Factory is a perfect example, right? We don't really do products, we offer services. But the reason we could trademark the brand Trademark Factory is not because the company is called Trademark Factory, but because we offer services under the brand Trademark Factory, right? So I could have had a numbered company, which are popular in Canada, like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 BC Corp, and construction companies love those, right? Because they set up a numbered company for every project, again for liability reasons, right? So I could have a numbered company, and then I could have the name Trademark Factory, and say, hey, Trademark Factory is the best trademarking service in the world. Buy our trademarking services from Trademark Factory, right? Because I do that, because I have a website that says Trademark Factory, because I have all of this marketing, because I have all of the services that, like in the agreement, it says Trademark Factory, everything, right? Because we do that, we can have a trademark for the words Trademark Factory, not because the company name is Trademark Factory, right? So you need to offer something to the world under that brand that you want to trademark. And if you do, then if it's your company name, yeah, that's fine. You can still trademark that, but you need to show to the trademarks office the connection of what you offer to the world under that brand. Hope that answers the question. Tanya Edwards, if my tagline is in my logo, should I trademark just the logo or both logo and well, the tagline, I think the question is. I already answered that question. So ideally you want to file them as two separate trademarks, because that's going to give you better protection, right? So your logo can change, your tagline can change, and if you only have a single trademark, then essentially you will be sitting on a powder keg, just waiting for someone to cancel your trademark for non-use. Because again, if one of the elements change inside your trademark and you're no longer using the old combination, then you're not using your trademark as registered, and if you don't, then anyone can kill your trademark, and when they do, they're going to kill both, the logo and the tagline. So ideally you want to do it as two separate ones. There are two exceptions. One is if one of your elements is not registrable, right? Or if they're both not registrable by themselves. Sometimes combining them into a single trademark is the only way to own it. And there are legitimate reasons why sometimes you would want to do that. So, there's kind of iffy situation with potentially confusingly similar trademark, and we tell you, hey, it's 50-50 or it's 0, but if you combine this with a logo, then it will become registrable, right? You may then consider filing that. And as you continue growing that brand, make it more recognizable, after that, you get more money, you get more revenue. That other trademark that we initially thought was too close may go away, right? At that point, you may want to file 2 more separate trademarks and just split them, right? Or just stay with that single one. The other semi-legitimate reason is if you can't afford 2 trademarks and you really want to do something, right? If you have the funds for one, sometimes it's a legitimate thing to do a combined mark. Sometimes, again, you need to think about your priorities, right? Which brand, like the tagline or the logo, is more important for you. Sometimes, if you only have the funds for one, it could be better to pick one rather than do them combined. But sometimes you can do both in a single one. It's really on a case by case basis, based on your plans for the brand, on your finances, and registrability. So when a client comes to us with a combined mark, what we typically do is we break it down into elements, and we do the searches for individual elements as well as the combined mark. And we say, so in your case, it would be like 3 trademarks, right? The combined mark, the logo, and the tagline. So you send us one image, we do 3 searches, and we tell you, well, this is doable, and this is not doable. And from there, we can suggest how to proceed, whether you should do, we will never recommend you doing something that's not doable. That's how we keep our 99.3% success rate, because we don't want to file trademarks that are not going to go through. Right, so between these two, like the combined mark, for example, and the logo, let's say your tagline by itself is not very registrable, then we'll suggest, hey, do you want to do the combined mark or just the logo? What are the odds of you changing that tagline in the future to something else, right? If you're like, I love this tagline, I'm going to stick to it no matter what, forever and ever and ever and ever, then we'll say, yeah, let's do the combined mark, that's easy, right? Or if you say, well, I don't know, right? Maybe, especially because it's not trademarkable by itself as a word mark, maybe let's just go do the logo, right? our goal when we do our searches is to give you the information that you need to make an informed decision, right? And help you figure out what that information actually means, so that you don't just left alone in trying to make that informed decision, but you have someone holding you by the hand. That's something I feel is one of the coolest things about Trademark Factory. The way the process works here is that we don't ever want you to feel like, hey, these guys just did something. They put a bunch of words in front of me that I'm supposed to figure out what they mean and make a decision, right? So that's that. I hope that answers your question. All right. All right. Wow. Holy crap. It's like I've been doing this for 2 hours. I didn't realize that we'd have this much engagement. Everyone who had their questions, everyone who is still watching this, I want to thank you for attending. We're definitely going to make this a regular thing. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm losing my voice right now. Look, really appreciate you. This shows that you guys care about your brands, you care about your business, you care about learning something that will add value to your business. So that's really cool, and thank you for showing up and supporting and asking your questions. If you want to get the process started with us, go to trademarkfactory.com. There's a really easy way to get on a call with one of our strategy advisors, help you get started. If you're already the client, you know how to reach out to us either via legal chat or email. Some of you have my personal phone number. You can text me. I still have it even while I'm traveling. So to me, it's really a privilege to be able to talk to you like this, because as the company grows, and when I started the company, it was just me doing everything, right? The marketing, the sales, the delivery, all the client work, and then I very quickly realized I couldn't do it all well at the same time, for sure. And so started adding people to the team, and by doing that, I was doing less and less direct communication with clients and less direct communication with brand owners who want to become our clients. So doing these lives is a great opportunity for me to reconnect with you, and it's really cool. I just had a conversation a few days ago with one of our clients. She messaged me on Facebook Messenger, because we've known each other for a long time, but she was also a client. She had a situation that I helped her resolve. So, even though the company grows, I'm still trying to make myself available to people who've known me, people who need help. So we want to keep doing that. So anyway, go to trademarkfactory.com. If you're not yet a client, talk to our strategy advisors. They'll help you get started. They'll answer all your questions. And no matter what you do, make sure to remember one thing. There's a reason you came up with your brand. There's a reason you chose this name and not that name. That name means something to you. Make sure you protect it. Make sure you own it, because until you trademark your brand, it's not a brand. It's just a name. It's just an image. It's just a phrase. Turn it into a name. Turn it into a real brand. Turn it into real asset by owning it through getting that trademarked. And if you want to get it done right, get it done with Trademark Factory with a guaranteed result for a guaranteed budget. And on that note, thanks everyone again for attending. I'll see you in the next video.